If I asked you to name the most dangerous animal on the planet, you might say a great white shark, a lion, or maybe a mosquito carrying malaria. But right now, in a secure, undisclosed location in the West Bank, there is an animal that poses a greater threat to global stability than any nuclear warhead. It is a cow, specifically a red heifer. In September 2022, 5 of these cows were flown first class from a ranch in Texas to Ben Gurion Airport in Tel Aviv. They were greeted by rabbis, weeping with joy. They were inspected by government officials. They are currently being protected by armed guards and fed a strictly controlled diet. Why? Because for a specific group of Orthodox Jews and millions of American evangelical Christians, these cows are not livestock. They are the key to the end of the world. The theory is simple. These cows are the missing ingredient required to build the third temple in Jerusalem. But there is a catch. To build that temple, you have to displace the Dome of the Rock and the Al-Aqsa Mosque, the third holiest site in Islam. In fact, the spokesperson for Hamas, Abu Ubaidah, explicitly cited the arrival of the red cows as one of the motivations for the October 7th attacks. So, how did a farm animal become the trigger for a potential World War III? What does an obscure ritual in the Book of Numbers have to do with the second coming of Jesus? And why are Christian cowboys from Texas spending millions of dollars to help Jewish rabbis reinstate animal sacrifice? Today, we are going to look at the Pera Aduma. We are going to explore the strange alliance between Messianic Judaism and American dispensationalism. To answer the question, why is the world waiting for a cow? To understand the headlines, we first have to understand the ritual. We need to open the Bible to Numbers chapter 19. In the Old Testament, the biggest obstacle to worshipping God was impurity. And the ultimate source of impurity was death. If you touched a dead body, or walked into a room where someone died, or even walked over a grave, you became ritually unclean. This is called tumot met. If you were unclean, you were banned from entering the temple. You could not offer sacrifices. You were cut off from the presence of God, and regular water couldn't wash this away. You needed a special chemical solvent. You needed the water of God gave Moses a very specific recipe for this cleaning agent. 1. Find a red heifer, Pera Aduma. 2. It must be completely red. Even to black hairs disqualify it. 3. It must be perfectly healthy, without blemish. 4. It must never have worn a yoke or done a day's work. This cow is taken outside the camp and slaughtered. Its body is burned completely, hide, flesh, blood, and dung along with cedar wood, hyssop, and scarlet yarn. The ashes of this cow are then gathered up and mixed with living spring water. This mixture is sprinkled on the unclean person on the 3rd and 7th day. Only then are they clean. This commandment is famous in Jewish theology because it is a charka divine decree that has no logical explanation. King Solomon, the wisest man who ever lived, supposedly said he understood the meaning of all the commandments except for the red heifer. It is a paradox. The ashes purify the unclean, but the priest who prepares the ashes becomes unclean in the process. But here is the historical problem. The Romans destroyed the Second Temple in 70 AD. Since then, there have been no ashes. According to Jewish law, this means that every single Jewish person alive today is technically, ritually impure. Because everyone is impure, no one can enter the Temple Mount. And because no one can enter, no one can rebuild the temple. The ashes are the bottleneck. You cannot restart the biblical system without them. For 2,000 years, this was just a theoretical problem. The Jews were in exile. There was no Israel. But in 1948, Israel was reborn. In 1967, Israel captured Jerusalem and the Temple Mount. Suddenly, the Third Temple wasn't a dream anymore. It was a real estate project. Enter the Temple Institute, Machon Hamikdash. This is an organization in Jerusalem dedicated to one goal: rebuilding the temple in our lifetime. They are not just praying about it, they are prepping. If you visit their museum in the Old City, you will see that they have already recreated the golden menorah, the table of showbread, the priestly garments, the silver trumpets, and the altar. They have the blueprints. They have the training school for priests Kohanim. They have everything except the ashes. For decades, the Temple Institute has been scouring the earth for a perfect red heifer. It is genetically incredibly rare. Most red cows have patches of white or black hairs. Every few years, a candidate is born in Israel. The excitement builds. But then, as the calf grows, it develops a white hair, or it gets a scar, and it is disqualified. The rabbis teach that there have only been 9 red heifers in history from Moses to the Roman destruction. The 10th heifer will be prepared by the Messiah himself. So, finding a candidate isn't just about animal husbandry. It is about forcing the hand of God. This is where the story gets weirdly American. The Temple Institute realized they couldn't find the cow in the Middle East, so they turned to the cattle capital of the world, Texas. Specifically, they connected with evangelical Christian ranchers who raise red Angus cattle. Why would Christians care? This goes back to the theology of Christian Zionism and dispensationalism. Millions of American evangelicals believe that the Bible predicts a specific timeline for the end times. 1. The Jews' return to Israel happened in 1948. 2. Jerusalem is recaptured happened in 1967. 3. The Third Temple is rebuilt. 4. The Antichrist enters the temple and desecrates it, the abomination of desolation. 5. This triggers the Great Tribulation. 6. Jesus returns to save Israel and defeat the Antichrist. Do you see the logic? Christians don't want the temple because they want to offer animal sacrifices. They believe Jesus was the final sacrifice. They want the temple because it is the landing pad for Jesus. It is the stage set required for the final act of the play. No temple equals no Antichrist. No Antichrist equals no second coming. No second coming equals Christians are stuck here. So, Christian donors have poured millions of dollars into the Temple Institute. They view this as speeding up the day of the Lord. In 2022, a Christian rancher named Byron Stinson helped locate 5 flawless red heifer calves. In Texas, because of strict import laws, they had to be shipped as pets or for breeding, bypassing some regulations. They are now in Israel, aging. A heifer can be sacrificed once it has passed its 2nd birthday, some say 3rd. We are currently in the window of viability. If this was just about a BBQ in the desert, no one would care. But remember where the temple has to go. The Temple Mount Haram al-Sharif is currently occupied by the Dome of the Rock and the Al-Aqsa Mosque. For Muslims, this is where Muhammad ascended to heaven. It is a sovereign Islamic holy site. For the Temple Institute to use the ashes, they don't necessarily need to blow up the Dome of the Rock immediately, but they do need to perform the red heifer ceremony. According to tradition, the sacrifice happens on the Mount of Olives, looking directly at the Temple Mount. The mere act of performing this sacrifice is a declaration of intent. It is a signal to the Islamic world. We are getting ready to take the mountain back. This is why Hamas and Hezbollah watch this so closely. In his speech marking the 100th day of the Gaza war, The Hamas spokesman listed the bringing of red cows as an act of aggression against Al-Aqsa. To the secular West, this sounds insane. You attacked civilians because of a cow. But to the religious Middle East, symbols are reality. The red heifer represents the Zionist intent to destroy Al-Aqsa and instigate a religious war. The Israeli government is in a bind. On one hand, they rely on the support of the religious right and American evangelicals. On the other hand, allowing this sacrifice to happen could literally trigger World War III. The police and the Shin Bet security agency are terrified of Jewish extremists trying to slaughter the cow on the Mount of Olives. What makes this story truly fascinating is the interfaith paradox. You have Orthodox Jews and evangelical Christians working hand in hand, hugging at the airport, crying over these cows. But they are working toward completely different endings. The Jewish goal, to purify the priesthood, rebuild the temple, and usher in the Messianic age, where the world recognizes the God of Israel and follows the Torah. They do not believe Jesus is the Messiah. The Christian goal, to rebuild the temple so that the Antichrist can defile it, leading to a time of Jacob's trouble, which ends with them converting to Christianity when Jesus returns. Essentially, the Christians are funding a project that they believe will lead to the near destruction of Israel because they believe it saves their souls in the end. And the Jews are accepting the money, believing that the Christians are useful idiots who will eventually see the truth of Judaism. It is a marriage of convenience where both sides think they are playing the other, and the cow is stuck in the middle. So, will the sacrifice happen? The heifers are getting older. If they grow black hairs or get too old, they become useless. There is a use it or lose it pressure. Rumors circulate every Passover that this is the year. Whether you believe in the prophecy or not, the belief in the prophecy is a tangible force in international relations. It reminds us that we cannot understand the Middle East through the lens of secular politics alone. We are watching a conflict driven by ancient texts, ritual purity laws, and apocalyptic expectations. The red heifer teaches us a frightening lesson about fundamentalism. When people believe they know exactly how the story ends, they stop caring about the consequences of the present. They are willing to burn down the world to see if the ashes match the book. Is it just a cow? Or is it a matchstick sitting next to a powder keg? Thanks for watching.